At this point, I'm sure you have seen something about this book, Dorie Clark's The Long Game, which I started reading this weekend, and it is fantastic. I've known and admired Dorie for many years, and this past summer, she gave me the wonderful opportunity to interview her on the summer camp series that I did. And I pulled a clip from that interview that I thought was particularly compelling, in which she talks about why the long game matters. One of the things she tackles in the book is why we stay so busy. It's easy to just go from task to task. And then all of a sudden, 5, 10 years goes by, and are you where you wanted to be? Probably not. Dorie feels pretty strongly about making sure that you have white space in your life, in your days, in your weeks, so that you can actually give some thought to what you want to be doing. And that means not saying yes to everything. She says, saying yes to everything means being average at everything. And I assure you, this woman is anything but average. Check out The Long Game by Dorie Clark, and check out this interview clip, including what her mother getting braces at age 50 has to do with it.
Hey, Terry, good to be here.
Thank you. Dorie, so good to have you here. Someone who thinks in terms of the long game is rare, because everything happens so quickly, and we're in a world where we think, well, things will change tomorrow, so we'll figure it out then. Talk to me about, because every book you do is solving a problem. Tell us about the problem that the long game solves.
Well, I was really inspired to write The Long Game in many ways by the folks in my Recognized Expert program, because when you spend 5 years running a program, with 600 folks, you actually manage to get a pretty good longitudinal perspective of what people are thinking about and what people are going through. And I would have, either folks in the community or private coaching clients. And so often, my private coaching clients, we meet every 2 weeks. And so I'd get on a call with them, and then, they'd sort of shake their hands together. And then they'd say, okay, so what next? What should I be doing now? And I'd be like, I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but like the same thing you were doing, like keep doing that. And they're like, but wait, isn't there a thing? Isn't there a new thing? And it's not that they were looking for a magic bullet per se, because they're smart people. They understand there's not a magic bullet, but there was constantly this, but I could do this and the new thing. And but wouldn't this work? But wait, everyone's doing the, Clubhouse, and
like shiny object syndrome a little bit.
Very, very much so. And I just came to realize, like, wow, so much of the work that we have to do to actually build, to build the platform, to build the capacity to be able to share ideas in the way that we want. So much of it is like the kind of grunt work of execution. It really is playing the long game.
Not sexy.
Yeah, it's being willing to do hard things for long periods of time that other less persistent people are not willing to do. And so I wanted to really write a book to help fortify people in their quest to accomplish what they most want to do, so that they don't give up too soon.
Because that is the problem, right? It's not that we're not good enough or talented enough and we'll never be, and we don't have this missing gene. We would need to be amazing breakout stars. It's that we give up too soon. It's not even start too late, because I've just heard too many stories of people who they do not start early. They start when they start. But if you give up too soon, that to me is really what stops people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything takes longer than we want.
I see you living it. I don't care who said it originally. I see you living it, because it's easy to say, oh, well, Dorie just turns out a course here and a book here. And it's like, she didn't just turn it out. You don't see her sitting at her desk for hours and days and days and a year. That time is invisible, because it's not posted on Facebook usually. And it's not posted on LinkedIn. And so that time, it may seem not important because no one saw it, but that's the real time, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put.
You just said 10 years from now. You're like 10 years from now, not like, I bet I could do this next year, 6 months. I love that. I love new things. I love new shit. I want to do new stuff all the time. I want to do a new idea, new talk. I do suffer from that, because it sounds scary to try to imagine. I don't even know. It just seems invisible to me 10 years from now. What is a way we can, so it's one thing to say, just keep going, right? We know that that's important, and that is a skill and a kind of muscle. But is there a way that you see time that maybe would help us reframe time? Those of us who can't see past tomorrow morning.
Well, I actually find a 10-year time frame very liberating in some ways because you don't have to know how you're going to do it in 10 years. I mean, like, right? Like, you don't have to have any degree of specificity. All you need is a sort of general direction and to at least know what the first step is. And then it clarifies as you get further. When I first started, saying, I want to write a show and get it on Broadway, I didn't know how to do it. I mean, I didn't even, in a literal sense, I didn't know, how to write effective lyrics or what that process looked like. But above and beyond that, I didn't understand the Broadway ecosystem. I didn't understand how shows made it to Broadway. I didn't understand the structure of how a lead producer is different from a co-producer, is different from an investor. And so I started investing in Broadway shows. I've invested in four shows, 3 Broadway shows and a touring production, specifically for the purpose of learning how the ecosystem works so that I could have a holistic understanding. So I would have a better chance of being able to, to move my show forward.
But some people would say, well, I don't know those things. Oh no, I don't know those things. I guess I can't do it. You don't let that stop you from doing it. You just say, well, I guess I'm going to have to figure it out. But the other thing is there's something in us that loves the breakout young. This idea that, oh, but 10 years from now, I'll be this age. And then it's too late. But the fact is, we're going to be that age anyway. Does that ever think like people think, well, I want to be able to publish my first book before I turn this age? Or does that ever been a thing? Or you're like, it doesn't matter?
I mean, I think it's a thing for everybody, but we have to anchor it properly. I mean, to your point, one thing that I thought was really wonderful. I mean, we always learn, kind of learn by osmosis, right? And my mom is terrific. My mom's really wise, I think. And when I was a teenager, I was 13 years old, I got braces, like a lot of 13-year-olds do. And, it's kind of all miserable. Like back in the day, we didn't really have the subtle braces. It was like, and just terrible. But anyway, my mother, who was in her 50s at the time, she got braces too.
At the same time?
At the same time, we're matching. And
What?
everybody's like, what are you doing? Like, no 50-year-olds got braces. This is not a thing back then. But my mother, she was very adamant. And she said, you know what? I decided I'm either going to be 2 years older or I'm going to be 2 years older with straight teeth. And I'm like, yeah, preach it, sister. Like I think that's fantastic. So yeah, the time comes. Love that. The time comes anyway.
Well, it's anti-aging. You say, I'm going to do it because time marches on anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Dorie, you are always a treat. You're so fun. You are truly an inspiration to us all. And you put it in perspective with tools we can use. Pick up The Long Game, How to Be a Long-Term Thinker in a Short-Term World.